Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Anyone hear me? It's muted. It's not muted now. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Anybody? Anybody hear me? Oh, can you guys hear me? Hello? Anyone? Okay, since apparently everybody can hear me, but nobody was nodding their head. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my screen and so we can talk through everything. Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. And hopefully this all works out okay. And then it's also recording. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is our great trip that we had. And we're going to start with the bluffs and the cove. I know a lot of you guys have already seen these slides. So because I sent it out as a teaser, but let's go ahead and go through it again. And that way you guys can type some comments also. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the cove. We were so excited when we got to the end of the pathway because it was a very rough path to get to the cove, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. But the cove was a very rough path, and it was full of mud, and you could have got stuck, and we got some mud on our shoes, but we were able to navigate and get down there. So the cove is actually the bluffs, and of course the show calls it the cove. As we know, that's where all the kids hang out, the teenagers go to, and then still apparently the men child of Elliot and Nick go there as well sometimes still. And then, of course, our lovely couple, our beautiful couple, Thomas and Kat, have also spent some time there at the cove on a stump as well, talking about the stars. So here's the pathway that we were talking about. This literally stretched for, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile. And it was that muddy in certain places and really hard to get around. But we were able to get around. You could see when they were shooting that they actually took this pathway at one point and it was all graveled over. So they must have done that for the filming, which I'm sure they do a lot of stuff like that aesthetically for filming. So also, it talks a little bit about the filming. You can kind of see right here, they were doing some actual model shots and things like that. So it also shows in one of the pictures that the showrunner did, she actually had this all blocked off. You could see where she had this blocked off just like it was the day we were there. And it was blocked off for them to do the filming as well in a very similar location, as you can see over there. So we couldn't get past the blockade to go over and take a look to see if perhaps that's where Thomas came in at on that side there. But it did look like it came in kind of by where the tent that they had set up for the model to change was at. And it looks like several people can't seem to get in. So it says it's full. So we may have to do another run at this again at some point in the next couple of days, because it's kind of trial and error. It's the first time we've used it. So you can also enter it from YouTube. So I wonder if maybe we should do that as well. All right. So I'm going to keep moving on. And, oh, it even told me to invite guests this way. Okay. Oh, I just lost the screen, guys. Okay. So as you guys can, I'm trying to like move on, but it's not letting me. Okay, there it goes. So right here, you guys can see the path the horses came in on. We actually got a really clear shot of that. So that was kind of cool. You can see where they would come in. Of course, it was really muddy and there's no way, horses would have done very well getting through there at that point when we were there. And then the log for the cove was missing. Now, Romy said that it's been there before when she's hiked down there. to the bluffs. She's seen it before, but apparently it is now missing. So hopefully this show is able to get the Cove log back for filming for this year. And we'll kind of show you the next picture. You can see where the log should have been, where it's normally at, but no log. I even drew a little log picture there for you guys. So as you know, we've kind of already gone over the Cove before. You guys have seen it before. So we're going to move on to more exciting things, and that's the lighthouse, where all the magic happens, right? So the lighthouse is in the Toronto Islands. It's on Center Island. And we were able, it was a pretty long hike out there. It was not a lot of fun, that's for sure. Next year, we will use a bike. They have a four people bike. I wish they had golf carts, but so they had 4-person bikes. We're going to definitely next year use bikes on our trip. So it was literally probably, Mary and I took the beach way. So we were walking through sand. So it took us a long time, but it also, took Vicky and Susan a long time as well to get there, walking the road. So it was very lengthy, and I would say probably 45 minutes. I don't know if one of you guys want to chime in, but it was probably 30 to 45 minutes to get to the lighthouse from where the ferry lets you off. And then we had to take a ferry to the island. The ferry was about 15 minutes. It really wasn't very long once you actually were able to get on the ferry. They run about every 30 minutes. So once we were able to get on the ferry, it only took about 15 minutes to get over to the actual island. And it was very smooth, no motion sickness, anything like that, no seasickness, because it was a very smooth trip over there. Not a lot of, and the Great Lakes can kick up some major wind and major waves, but not that day. So we were very fortunate. So as you can see here, there's the beautiful picture of the lighthouse. You can see the path of the lighthouse. And that is the same path that many people took to the lighthouse in the show. We see Elliot and Kat standing there with benches that they must have brought in. We see, of course, we see Thomas and Kat walking to the lighthouse as well. So the lighthouse is very popular. That little pathway is getting to it, to the doorway. Okay, did I actually skip one? No, yes, I skipped one. So Gibraltar Point is the name of the actual lighthouse. That's our lighthouse. And there's a cute little sign that we took a picture of, which you guys will be able to zoom in on once you get the PowerPoint and read all the history of the actual lighthouse. And you can see us standing there by the door and touching the door and the handle that Thomas touched, aka Chris. We were very excited about that. We were unable to get in the in the lighthouse. It was actually locked. It was supposed to be open at 11 a.m. and we were there at 11 a.m. And we even went over and sat by the little caretaker's cottage thing, and nobody came out of that. So no one was opening the lighthouse, was the moral of the story that day, which was sad because it was a weekend. But maybe next time. So the next one is, there's Mary on the path, walking where Thomas walked. And then the other one is a back path as well. There is that path, and honestly, it kind of looks like the path that Thomas and her took, but they did come to the front door. So, but it looks more like their path than this one. But this definitely is the one with Mary standing is definitely the one that Elliot and Kat were on. But most likely, it just didn't have as much gravel in the show. It looked a little bit more grassy in the show, which you'll see in a minute. And then also it kind of talks about the lake light and the actual lighthouse and what its purpose was, which we all know any lighthouse has its purpose. So some show lighthouse moments. We've got some video here. And you can kind of see them walking the path. Thomas and Catherine. Then there's me walking the path as well next to it. Some more path. Then we see young Kat and Elliot standing out in front of the lighthouse on that same pathway. Elliot being pitiful with his peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Trying to get an invite, I think, from the Landrys. I believe it shows the path one more time behind them, and that's why this is lasting as long as it is here. Oh, yes. So as you can see, It's definitely very grassy because you can see on the one picture here that it's very rocky, right? There's all this rocks and stones, but then you see it's all kind of grassed over because you can see the doorway. You can see the doorway from us, kind of grassed over. So I don't know. Who knows what they did, but it was a different time of year too. It was a little bit more fall when they were there than compared to us. As you could tell, there's some of the leaves are changing. Okay, so I'm going on to the lighthouse video. Now, this is a video we took of the lighthouse. Just kind of walked around it, saw the sights to be seen. It's very small. Like it looks much bigger on the show, like when Thomas and Catherine are actually inside on that top floor. It definitely looks. The bottom floor is actually not filmed there. We'll get into that later. That's actually filmed someplace else. See, it looks more like that grassy path, but it definitely opens up to the front. So, okay. Okay, so that's the lighthouse and kind of talking through the lighthouse. And I don't know if anybody has any questions on the lighthouse. Welcome, Karen. Okay, and talking about the ghost. Hold on, Mary, let me try to, you can't unmute yourself and just talk? It won't let you? Let me see. Yeah, it's telling me you should be able to talk, Mary, if you want to talk about the ghost. Okay, I'm not hearing you, though. Yeah, I'm still not hearing you. Sorry, guys. The first time we've used this system, I tried to practice it. One of my employees was able to make sure I could get on, but apparently we did not work out all the. We thought we did. Yeah, I see, Mary, that you're unmuted. Do you want to just type it and I can say it in the comments, or send me a PM, a little a messenger message? Oh, yes, they were. They were. Young Cat and Elliot were talking about the ghost as well, which was kind of funny because Young Cat had no idea what was in store for her with that ghost, did she? So I am going to go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint and talk about the point. I'm trying to. And I've got a second screen set up, so every time I go to do something, I see the second screen moving next to me, and it's driving me a little crazy. So we're going to go back down, and we're going to start at the point. The point story is pretty interesting, you guys. So with the point, let me make sure that it resumes, okay? It does not want to. Well, you guys can see it, so I'll just talk through it. So with the point, I can actually make it larger. With the point, it actually films in two different locations. You can see the beautiful, how they decorate it up with nice awnings and everything. And then over on the side, underneath the Port Perry sign, you can see what it really looks like. The building is actually condemned. So they only use it for the outside because they can't get into it. It doesn't really look that bad. I'm not really sure why it's condemned. The nice man we met that does a lot, that used to do a lot for the show, he told us that it was a condemned building, and that's why no one's allowed in it, and they also don't film inside of it. So they actually film in another restaurant right down the street as the inside, and it's called the Piano. on the piano bar, and it's actually an N as well. So, but you can see when they do film, they make it nice and pretty. They gray wash it. They put some beautiful awning on it. So it's very, very pretty. So as we move past this piece of it and the condemned part, we're going to show you kind of what the point looks like on the show. So you can kind of recall back the inside and the outside. In a minute, you're going to see the inside on ours. And the pictures we were able to take late at night. It was late at night, you guys, when we were able to take our pictures through the windows and the place was closed. Okay. So a couple more pictures of the outside, including the door, and that is the door they seem to use on the show. So here's the piano bar. This is the actual inside, as you can scroll up and see. Oh, Romy can't make it in either. So she's waiting to get in. So you guys can see the inside of the piano bar, and you can see the counter. I'm going to actually scroll in here for you guys. As you can see the counter, and then this bake counter is off to the side here, like it is in the show. Okay, and this is another large size shot of it as well. So that was kind of interesting. No one really told us. We happened to just luck out and drive by as we were leaving Port Perry and saw the inside. And, you know, we stopped, we ran, we got out, and we took pictures. We were very excited. So now the next thing we're going to cover is the Port Haven Herald. So the Port Haven Herald is where, of course, Kat works for now. And we never know. She seems to be in a little bit of trouble. So she does. And so I'm going to do a little film first of the show to show what it looks like when we're actually watching it on the show. So it says Port Haven Herald, very cute, has the signage up. As you can tell, a lot of the signage is just something they can throw up really fast, or even a lot of times they airbrush stuff in when they're filming. So there we go. Port Haven Herald, Catherine Landry, editor-in-chief. So here is the Port Haven Herald. It's all right on the corner. It's right across from the park that they do most of their filming. It's catty corner to the point. So it's literally right there. That corner of, you know, Water Street and Queen Street in Port Perry, which is Port Haven, or fictional Port Haven. It basically almost 3 of the 4 corners is really where the show mostly tapes at. And so if you go on, I'm going to go on to the next one, and you can kind of see some more things. You can see Mary modeling outside the Herald office. You can see the Herald office at night when it's all lit up. And then that's the staircase. Actually, we were able to open the door because the door was open, but we really didn't want to walk up there. I guess we could have, but I was too chicken. But that is the actual staircase to the fictional offices. And we really don't know if they film inside those offices or not. We would not have been able to get into them, I don't think. But also we didn't want to be caught trespassing, going up a staircase that we weren't supposed, in a building we weren't supposed to be in. So, but it was unlocked. So, but we just stuck to the doorway and we took a picture of the staircase going up to the office. Okay. So I'm going to shrink down and see if anybody has any questions. Oops. Or not. Well, at least I found the slideshow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, if you guys can still hear me okay, can someone type in, like Mary, will you type in the chat? If you can still hear me, because I'm getting a little concerned that I'm not being heard. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys, this is a work in progress. Okay, nobody's answering me, so I don't know if I'm being heard or not. I have no clue. Thank you, Susan, because I cannot see anything of you guys at all. Okay, so you guys, moving on to the gazebo. The gazebo was also in the fictional Port Haven, which is Port Perry. It was beautiful. We got to see it at both daytime and nighttime after dinner. It was very lovely. Of course, there was a lot of scenes that had been filmed there, including the infamous fight scene with Kat and Elliot, and then also there's the Founders Day scenes with it as well. So very exciting. Both season 1 and 2 used the gazebo. So I did do a little gazebo video when we were there, kind of just walked around it for about 30-40 seconds. There were some people that were sitting there and they were really in-depth conversation and were not moving by any means. So kind of did the waterfront too as well in the video, kind of looked around it so you can kind of see everything around the gazebo. It definitely looks like a much bigger area when the show is filming compared to what it actually is. I was really trying not to be intrusive on those people having a nice conversation at the gazebo. So I was hoping they were going to leave and they didn't. So I just it was Susan and I there, and I just kind of zoomed up a little bit and just got a real quick one. But you can see it's called the Rotary Gazebo because apparently the Rotary Club sponsors it. And then I have shown you the streets and things like that too during this video. And there we are. Then the next one is the video of the gazebo being used in the show. And this is at night. You can compare it to the pictures we have at night. It's very pretty. And then, you can see the glistening water off to the background at night. So that was the gazebo area. Next area that we looked at is the dock area. There was a dock area, and that is well known for, one, the vet kiss, and two, when the cat kissed the vet, and two, when the proposal happened between Kat and Brady. And also it had some Nick and Alice in the boat as well, in one of the boats along the dock. So you can kind of see here, Here they are, kind of shows the boats. This actually got moved a little. And then, hold on. Sorry, guys. Go back to the dock area. So I'm not sure how this picture got on top of it. Here is the video. So it kind of showed us walking down there, checking everything out. It's very peaceful. It's literally right next to the point. Like the building that says Port Perry is right there. That's attached to the outside of the point. Okay. So the next thing, we are going back to the lighthouse. And the downstairs of the lighthouse, it's kind of interesting. That is actually in a totally different location. It's actually at, I'm going to show you a little video. And I'm hoping to get the volume on this video. So basically, you can kind of see the walls are the same. I got this picture of the walls are the same as the walls in the downstairs of the lighthouse when she's caring for Jacob and when Kat's down there. They actually use something that is at like a Pioneer Village they have, Black Creek Pioneer Village. It's downstairs in the building they also used as the jail on the outside of the building. So let me play this video. And that's kind of showing, you know, when Thomas walks down the staircase and he holds on to the stairs, like right there in the show, it shows Mary doing that and checking things out. And down below is where they actually were doing the filming. It's very bare and very sparse down there. Okay. So then we're going to do a little show clip so you guys can kind of like compare. You can see the walls are the same, very sparse. You can see it's very much the same when you go down the staircase. I'd actually gotten a better video of the downstairs at the Pioneer Village, and I cannot find it. So I looked everywhere. So the next thing is the Augustine house. We got quite a bit on the Augustine house. We got, when we went there, they weren't even preparing to film there yet. Across the street is the Landry house. I mean, almost directly, a little ways down. Like you have to walk probably, I don't know, 100 steps down the road and across the road where the Landry house starts. And you'll see in a minute, I kind of actually tried to video from the two places, and you can kind of tell that's what I was doing. But the Augustine house, being so close, they weren't ready to film. They weren't filming there yet. Actually, the guy rents it out as a bed and breakfast. Not a bed and breakfast, but actually like a Airbnb. And so he does it privately, and he has his own website for it. So we could kind of see when they were going to be filming because it was only blocked for the last week of August. So it looks like they're only, at that time, they were only going to use the outside of the Augustine house the last week of August. And that's the only time they were going to be filming there. It was blocked for that and not blocked anytime else in the fall. So unless they do it in the dead of, like at the very end in November, because I think his thing didn't go up that far. I think he had a calendar that went up to the end of October. So unless they're going to also film in November, his calendar was only blocked and only rented out that 1 week in August. So not really sure what all they're filming. I doubt they film the inside of the house there. Most likely that's done on a stage. But the outside of the house, apparently they're not doing a ton of filming if they're only have the place for a week and have to spruce it up. Because the thing they film, in my opinion, the most at Elliot's house is the field. Here is Dell in a field. Dell's in this field, and this is actually not the Landry field next to the Landry house. This is actually the field next to Elliot's house. That is the fence at the Augustine house. In real life, it's very rough like that. I didn't realize how rough it was in the show until I saw it in real life and thought, oh my, I wonder if they're going to paint that. And then I saw the clips from the show and realized they don't paint it. This is what they use. So I'm going to take this little time to show this picture of the field before I show you our filming of the field. Maybe. Maybe I am. All right, another technical difficulty. Good times. Okay, so I'm going to flip to the next page. Oh, there it goes. There it is. So where she actually sees her horse and then was there, and then of course we're seeing Kat pass through for the pond. The pond is not back there. That is just them filming her coming from the pond. At least we're pretty darn sure the pond's not back there. We're pretty sure now we know where the pond is, but we did not know at the time, or the generalized area, but at the time we were in Toronto, we did not know where the pond was. We tried our best to find it, but now that we've been back, Carly Underwater, who is their underwater camera person and water safety person, from what she's been posting, it's been very informational. So we're pretty sure we know where the pond is now, which is on a reservoir. There's a lot of small little ponds off the reservoir, and we're pretty sure that's where the pond is from how much she was filming there. So here's some pictures of the Augustine house up close. A lot of people don't know this, but it was actually also used as Gilbert Blythe's house in Anne with an E, which is like Anne of Green Gables, the newer one. So it was also used for that, and so was the Landry house as Anne's house, well, the Cuthbert house. So with that being said, some really cute pictures. I've always loved this house. I love limestone. And it's a very pretty property. You can see the field now over here in the front of the house. And then I actually took a video of the yard. This is kind of a lengthy video. It's also going to show the huge, they have a enormous barn at the Augustine house that the show does not apparently use because I've never seen them use it, but it is an extremely large barn. I mean, they probably were serious farmers at one point in time. I mean, it's like a barn that would hold several combines. So I'll go ahead. Oh, there, see, there's the barn. It's a 2-level barn. And I'm going to go over to the fence in a minute so you guys can kind of see the cut through. So many scenes have happened right here at this fence. I guess that's what they do most of the week that they film. I don't know how much they filmed in years past, but my guess is that'll probably be a lot of it is just the area walking from the imaginary pond back there. Because there is a ton of scenes with that, just a ton as I was going through them. As you can see, it's a real spotty, old crickety fence. Here I am walking back around. Obviously, I'm not the best camera person. Okay. So that's a really good one of the field that they always cross through. Next up is the Landry house. Oh boy, is that the biggest weeded mess I have ever seen in my life. It is not pretty and beautiful like we see it on TV. They were working on it and they were actually getting ready. They started filming just a couple days after that. So because remember they started filming early and we actually were there we were there on, Saturday and they were going to be filming. Apparently they started filming Monday, I think at the pond, but still, because that house was not prepared to film, not at all. They had backhoes in there to dig stuff up. They had none of the landscaping was done. It was so weeded over, what you're going to see in a video. Exactly. You can't hardly see the house because the weeds are so high along the road. It was really rough. They had like multiple layers of plants that they were going to be planting. We had a production crew there. One of the production assistants was there, and she was very nice, but she could not let us on the property. A lot of it was because of safety issues, because they had so much heavy equipment in there of whatever they were doing. The boat was there and covered up. I am pretty sure the house is not used at all besides that. So I'm going to kind of get into some pictures. You guys can see the barn and you can see all the weeds leading up to it. You can see the stable, you can see the barn, you can see I'm going to actually enlarge that for you guys right there. But there was a lot of weeds between the stables and the barn. And poor Dell, Elliot will probably yell at her for how bad her fence looks. So I hope they paint it white. And then you can see there was big metal arms that actually kept you off the property. Now, Elliot's house did not have any of that. It had two little, like, I think it was a red cone, two little red cones. And they were off to the side. I don't know what they were for. I mean, they were very small red cones, but there was big metal bars barring you from the Landry property, which is actually, I'll get into that in a second. We'll have a little bit of the history of the property as well. But as you can see back here, you can see the backhoe right here as I zoomed in. So there's that. And then right behind it, like you can kind of see some of the flowers that they were going to put in and do the landscaping. So again, here's the road. Here's all the weeds. You can kind of see a really good picture of the fence there. Still, the weeds are very high. I don't know how, I mean, they're going to have a serious equipment in there to get all that down. And I'm sure they had it on property from how it looked. But yeah, so we saw this on Saturday. Obviously, they were not filming there on Monday when they started filming. There was no way that was going to be able to get done in time. So I'm going to have a little show video to kind of show you, but it is pretty tall. Grass is pretty tall actually in the show. Off to the side there. So if you look around them as you're filming, you can kind of see some of the areas of the show, the barn. Okay, this is a really good shot of it right there and a good shot of the house as well. So our videos. So let me start with this one. It is actually the Burkholder Farms. So the Burkholder Farm is its actual name. It actually has a Burkholder Farm sign. And that, when it was established and things like that we were able to see when we were talking to the production assistant. And the production assistant was super nice, but she literally told us if she let us on property, she would get fired. She would be fired for it. And because there's apparently cameras up. So there's one video. Now, this is the longer video that goes by the house. So you can see back there, that house back there, that blue house is the Landry house. So you can see it's almost impossible to see from the road. Look how much it's all built up. And that's trees. That's not overgrowth. I mean, it's really not supposed to be seen from the street is the vibe I got from it. Obviously the barns and stuff, but the house, they really don't want it seen from the street. And I don't know if that's because they had a lot of people with an E that would come out and look at it. The house has been used throughout the years for lots of different productions. So, but as you can see, I tried to get some decent footage of it, but you just couldn't get in past the bar. And before the bar, there was so much just weeds. Tons of weeds. And I just got really excited when I saw the boat. So that was the first time I saw it, you guys. Okay. So moving on from the two houses, we're going to do a little fun little thing here. It was the water hemlock. So as we know, we have a little video here of Thomas with this, warning Kat about the water hemlock. So the water hemlock, she touches it here and he tells her it's poison, it can kill you. So when we were down at the cove, we ran into a whole lot of water hemlock, which I don't think kills you, but still we believe Thomas. So we were going to be extra cautious because if Thomas said it, must be true. So here we are. And here is Mary with her arms in the sky, trying to get away from the water hemlock. So she was putting her hands up so she wouldn't touch the water hemlock. And that's what we did when we were walking through this part of the path to get to the cove. And they very well could have used that area for the nature walk because it was definitely, we couldn't tell for sure, but it could definitely have been used for the nature walk. Because there was a lot of areas that did not have paths, and they were just a lot of brush everywhere and trees. Okay. So the next thing, oh, actually, I'm going to skip that, is Black Creek's another part, is the other Port Perry. So we met this great guy. Mary found him. I think Mary and Vicky found him, and Romy. And I call him our new friend because he actually ran the temple, the Masons, the Freemasons. He actually ran that temple, and that is where they housed and fed the entire filming crew and the actors and actresses for the show when they were in Port Perry. So he was able to be right in the thick of everything. He's the one that told us about the building being condemned. He also told us that nothing was on the charts yet for filming for this year, and that was like 2 days before they started filming elsewhere. So they normally don't film there until later in the year, though, like in October. So, but he had not heard anything yet about it. But in years past, when they were filming there in Port Perry, he was able to mix and mingle with all of them, and he was able to. He was actually the one that took care of them and made sure they were fed and air conditioning when they weren't filming, and taking care of them that way. So he was our new friend. Now, something else in Port Perry they film is the farmers market. And so I have a little, and also the Founders Day. So here's the Founders Market. It's right along the waterfront, which you saw a little bit in my gazebo video. As you look back behind them when they're talking, you can see the benches that the show had that we have in our videos that we took. And of course, the waterfront too. And the waterfront area is very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops. Oh, I really took off. Okay, so then here's our video of the waterfront, you guys. It looks like they painted the benches from the color they are in the show to maybe Pride. It looks like, June was Pride month. So it looks like they painted them for Pride. Is the look. This is such a cozy little town, you guys. I cannot say enough good things about it. It's really neat. All of Canada was lovely. So there's ours. So you can kind of see the same things. Now, the road. So this is kind of interesting. So the road we took to get out to the Landry house, I was taking a video, and I wasn't even planning on using it for this presentation. I was taking a video when we were driving out there. And when we turned to go on the final road, I happened to be watching the show when Dell gets a flat tire, and I realized that is literally the road to the Landry and the Augustine house. So I have this nice little thing. I have a little bit, there's a picture. It's also the one with Colton and Kat driving as well. But then I have a little video of Dell and her flat tire. And then I have a video of us driving down that road right before we get to the Augustine and Landry houses. Actually, you hear me in the video. You can hear me actually say, oh, there's Elliot's house. So here's the video. You can see the roadway here. Of course, the trees were a little greener when we were there. Okay, so let me go ahead and hit that. And it makes sense they would film it there. That road was pretty dead. So just kind of look around and you can see Sam struggling. But you can also see the roadway. Okay, so a little bit more of the roadway. You're going to turn back around. It's going to show the roadway again. There you go. That's like the best part, to see the roadway. Okay, so it shows him taking off. Okay, so here is a hard video when we're actually turning onto this road. As you can see, I mean, we saw maybe 2 cars total pass the entire time we were out there for about, I'd say 20, 30 minutes we were out there. So it's very, I can see why they would have filmed it out there, to be honest. And there we are coming up on the Augustine house. Okay. So some other fun stuff we did on our trip, guys. So that's really a lot of the site stuff. Actually, I have one more site thing that's coming up. We went to, of course, Center Island has a lot more than just the lighthouse. It has an actual amusement park. We didn't go, but it had a beautiful part of the walk before we got exhausted. Was beautiful. I mean, they had beautiful fountains, beautiful flower gardens. We were talking about how beautiful it was. And then after about, an hour of walking, you're tired of that. But it was very beautiful at Center Island. And the next thing is when we went to Black Creek Pioneer Village, there's some pictures of us shopping. But we had a lot of fun there too. A little bit looks like it was filmed there, but not a lot. There is a definite shot where it looks like it's Thomas, where Thomas was walking to get to Kat, but you can't tell for sure. So I didn't want to throw it in to the things, but there was a couple places that very well could have been filmed, but we could not be 100% positive. And nobody there knew anything because they were brand new that year. Like they hire brand new teenage kids every year and nobody could tell us nothing. So unfortunately. Another thing we did is we did a longboat dinner cruise, which was beautiful. Right through, Toronto. I did a little bit of video with it. So you could kind of see, you can see the needle over there. It was excellent. It was so very beautiful. It was definitely worth going and doing. And then here's us eating as well. So we're out there eating, and we had dinner. We had lunch at Lingermore, and then there was a couple of pictures. We had dinner in Port Haven, or Port Perry, and then there was this on our last night. As you can see, here we are eating dinner, and then here we are collapsing after dinner because we were so exhausted because it was a very, very long weekend packed full of things, and we were wore out, to say the least. So I'm going to end the slideshow and then go back in and, oh my gosh, I can see everybody. Oh, Karen's watching on YouTube. Fantastic. Okay. So kind of exciting. I'm sorry, guys, that this was full of technical difficulties, but at least we got it on. It's our first time. It's going to get better. It's definitely going to get better. It looks like I'm sharing my screen with Leslie, too. Heck, Leslie, you could have just came over to my house to do this. At least you know you got on then. Leslie doesn't live very far from me. So let's see if there's any questions in here. There's lots of private chat. Yeah, Mary, they did walk by that arch. Okay. Okay, let me look at private chat then. Okay. Kathy, yes, it is the quietest you've ever been. Oh, it looks like Mary Pat Blake lost my audio. Well, what kind of questions do you guys have that you guys can, if you guys raise your hand? I think Kathy's unmuted. Oh, you're unmuted on my end, but I can't hear you. Hi, I see you though. I see you waving. Okay, guys. Okay, if you guys have any, put it on the chat, not the private chat, but the comments. If you guys have any questions. Oh, hold on. I think I got a question. Oh, no, that was Mary. Okay. You guys, I am so sorry. This was full of technical issues. Honestly, I'll probably do another run through next weekend because I know we'll be able to have everything ironed out then. And I'm dying to see what happened on YouTube because this was supposed to be tied together. I'm actually going to go into YouTube and look really quick to my YouTube account. And this should be completely and totally recorded because YouTube's supposed to automatically record it. Nope, not that. That's mine. My channel. Okay, so we are live. Only 2 people got into the YouTube, but 2 people got on the YouTube. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Okay, and Debbie got on YouTube. Very interesting. Okay. All right, well, that was a learning curve. There is definitely a time delay on the YouTube. I see that. But some of the YouTube ones are not linked over into the other one. But at least on here, there's only one chat. So that's good to know. Okay. Well, you guys, I'm sorry it was kind of chaotic and things, but yeah, it's really delayed. Wow. Okay. It's like 30 seconds delayed. It's kind of strange, but all right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to get a recording out so you guys can kind of, I actually may just private record it, and that way you guys can watch it on YouTube. But it looks like this will also be saved in YouTube, what we've done today here. And then you guys can also send us questions. Okay. Awesome, Kathy. So thanks, everybody. I'm sorry it was chaos. It'll be better next podcast once I've had this great big learning curve I've had today. And this is after I practiced once. So thanks, guys.